¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo están? Bienvenidos. Comenzamos nuestra conexión global en este nuevo año y hoy hablando del drama de la migración y de Europa y de la Unión Europea en un trabajo investigativo que revela una subcontratación de un drama humanitario.
This is me.
November 6, 2017. Around 150 migrants leave Tripoli aboard a flimsy raft, desperate to reach Europe and start new lives. Many of them will drown, the result of decisions made by politicians far away in European capitals. Most are fleeing violence and economic desperation in sub-Saharan Africa. And once in Libya, they face new dangers, like torture and human trafficking. But to escape to Europe and to safety, they must first cross the Mediterranean Sea. Smugglers force them onto dangerously overcrowded and fragile rafts.
In the night, everywhere is dark. I was highly scared. Well, I have no choice but to move into dinghy. I saw many people, rebels, shooting guns indiscriminately.
Over the next 8 hours, the sea becomes rougher and the raft starts taking on water. Many passengers fall into the sea, some without life jackets.
People were screaming, people were shouting, people were crying.
All my hopes, I thought that I'm already dead.
The migrants' best hope for rescue is their satellite phone. They call the Italian Coast Guard for help. The Italians then alert all ships in the area to the raft's approximate location. They also contact their go-to partner, the Libyan Coast Guard. By the time anyone arrives, the migrant raft is just outside of Libya's waters. In 2016, the European Union and Italy made an abrupt decision to outsource rescue operations here to a new partner, the Libyan Coast Guard. It's a policy with deadly consequences. Together with the research groups Forensic Oceanography and Forensic Architecture, we reconstructed the events of November 6 to show you how this one decision cost at least 20 lives on a single day. 2 hours after being contacted by the Europeans, the Libyan Coast Guard vessel arrives first on scene.
The Libyan boat was coming on a high speed. The wave was so high, so people gushed into the water. Half of the people in the boat fell in the water.
We have blurred the migrants' faces to protect them from retaliation.
Because I don't know how to swim, I don't swim. Wave just take me along, take me far.
Most people were around me, we were scattered. Some people couldn't float, so most of them are gone.
Watch how close the Libyan vessel gets to the raft, ignoring standard rescue tactics. Some migrants are pulled under.
People were buried. The wave sank me in the water and took me far away to where I saw everything. I saw him, he's videoing the people drowning.
We obtained footage from this Libyan's phone.
They are shouting, help, help, help. They did not respond.
They were shouting at people, making dangerous comments. So I was like, what's going on? And then I just saw a ship painted in blue. They wrote Sea-Watch. They were coming gently,
This is Sea-Watch, a German humanitarian rescue operation. They've also been contacted by the Italians and arrive a few minutes after the Libyans. Sea-Watch positions themselves at a safe distance. Sea-Watch is also recording with 9 video cameras and photos because the Libyan Coast Guard has a history of violence towards volunteer rescue groups. They quickly dispatched their small speedboats to reach victims.
So everything started quite early in the morning. We got the first message about the distress situation. They also warned us about the presence of the Libyan Coast Guard. They told me that I should tell the crew to be careful and that we should take all measures against aggressions from the Libyan Coast Guard.
Libyan Coast Guard, this is Sea-Watch 3.
Of course, the first things coming to my mind are like, okay, what are their intentions? Are they letting us rescue the people, or are they going to threat us? Are they even going to attack us with weapons? Is my crew safe in this moment?
We are on scene command, stay away.
Sea-Watch immediately starts making split-second decisions about who to rescue first.
No, try to assist on the other side of the Libyan Coast Guard. There's a lot of people in the water, directly at the Libyan Coast Guard ship.
Migrants are scattered in every direction. It's impossible to reach everyone at once.
I'm paramedic. I'm in the blue one. In such a chaotic rescue situation, there are a lot of different things in the water, and then you see, okay, it's a body, so we have to go there directly, we have to be there now.
These people normally can't swim. Drowning is like a thing of 30 seconds, maybe a minute.
This is me. I was alone, far away. When the Sea-Watch locates me, I'm lucky. I didn't think that I'm going to make it. I thought I'm going to die.
There were so much people in the waters. We tried to rescue all of them, but there were very big distance between them.
At this moment, the frame shows at least 9 people in immediate need of assistance. Many more are out of view.
This person here, this person is amazing. Yeah.
Amidst the chaos, Sea-Watch notices a desperate hand that is nearly within reach. One of the rescued migrants jumps in to save him. But it's too late. Meanwhile, the Libyans continue to hinder rather than help the rescue operation. And if you're wondering why the Libyans even show up at all, it's mainly to fulfill a deal with the EU that keeps funding and resources coming their way. Saving lives doesn't seem to be at the top of their list.
There were like 12 soldiers who were just standing there and were screaming. We tried to communicate with them that they should just be silent. When they're silent, we can at least hear what other people are screaming.
As the rescue continues, the Libyans turn increasingly confrontational. It's part of a long-standing pattern of threatening humanitarian workers.
We have been monitoring you for the last 2 days. Do not come back close to our waters. Next time you will be targeted.
This is Europe's preferred partner in action. The Libyans have even boarded other NGO ships by force and fired on them. These past incidents are on the minds of Sea-Watch as they approach the Libyans on November 6th.
If you put that all together, the threat level in the minds of our crew is very high. The driver of the speedboat said that they are facing big aggressions from the Libyans. He said they're threatening to shoot us. They made signs like this and like holding like weapons like this.
Suddenly, the Libyans begin hurling hard objects and potatoes at the Sea-Watch crew.
It's not only a potato, it's like a very physical attack on one of our crew members, and that makes me very angry.
The threats escalate. Sea-Watch is forced to retreat for their own safety. Without Sea-Watch filling in the gaps, the incompetence of the Libyans' rescue efforts is on full display.
Why they are saving people? Why they were saving people?
They can't do anything because they have no capability of taking people who are already in the water to their ship.
This man begins to sink. His life could be saved if the Libyans deployed the raft mounted on their vessel. But they claim it's broken. They throw life jackets, but it's not enough. He drowns.
They have a boat like what the Sea-Watch people use. It was there like for decoration.
The Libyan Coast Guard, there's It's not a rescue boat, it's just a warship. They don't have the speedboats, they don't have a medical treatment area, they don't have doctors, there's no chance for good rescue.
Botched rescues like this were almost unimaginable just a few years ago, when European countries were still leading rescue efforts. Between 2013 and 2014, Italy alone saved more than 100,000 lives. But then, everything changed. Nationalism and anti-immigrant fervor spiked. So Europe decided to stop the flow of migrants at any cost, without getting its hands dirty. It's a cynical solution, outsourcing the responsibility to the Coast Guard of what is essentially a failed state. The EU provides the Libyans with millions in equipment and training. Italy even helped repair the very ship used in this rescue and paraded it in front of the media to make it seem like they solved the crisis. But they haven't. 8 of the 13 Libyans manning the November 6 rescue received EU training, including on human rights, yet they blatantly abused the migrants on board their vessel.
They started beating me. That is what I get this injury.
It's why I have a money.
They use belt to beat me.
Flog us with rope. Beat us, kick everybody, kick, slap everybody.
Beat me and I jump into the sea again.
Many migrants frantically jump back into the water, even though some can't swim.
I'm trying to see when I jump inside the water, because I swim to meet the small boat.
You were not afraid that you would die in the water?
But I prefer to die in that water if we're going to go back to Libya. Because if I go back to Libya, they can kill me.
After being beaten, this man jumps from the ship. He clings to the ladder. The Libyan ship still takes off, ignoring all pleas to stop. An Italian Navy helicopter realizes their partners have gone too far and intervene. Only then do the Libyans pull him back on board. The fate of those who survive hinges on which boat they end up on. Those rescued by Sea-Watch will be taken to safety. While those on the Libyan boat are taken to detention centers where migrants are often beaten, raped, held for ransom, or sold for slave labor.
When we are in the boat, these guys were with me. This guy was captured by Libyan Coast Guard.
We tracked down 2 of the migrants who were brought back to Libya, and we interviewed them by phone.
So they took us back to the deportation camp. So they locked us in a room. Hunger, beating, so many types of things that I've not seen in my eyes before.
They will tie you down. They will use electric wire to choke you.
Did they sell you or trade you to other groups?
Yes. We were sold to another group.
These 2 Nigerians, a student and a waiter, later escaped the detention camp. They spoke to us from a secret location where they were hiding.
And are you safe now?
No.
And we can't go outside.
No food, no freedom, nothing. We are planning to leave the country.
Even though it's dangerous?
It's more dangerous to stay.
One of the migrants eventually escaped and reached Europe. The other remains trapped in Libya.
The Libyan Coast Guard is not rescuing these people, they're endangering these people in the moment, and that they're killing people. It's an act of murder in the end. In Europe we know we can't kill people at our border, but if Libyans do that, it's Libya. And it's Africa, and then, Africa is a sad story, and then we can live with that. But still it's European money who's leading to people drowning in the Mediterranean Sea. Every European citizen should be very upset actually with this kind of approach.
Europe likes to think it is a beacon of tolerance and human rights, but its actions tell a different story.
It's not my wish to go on rubber dinghy. It's not my wish. I just want safety. Safety is what I'm looking for.
We are suffering in Libya. We are suffering here.
I'm pleading to the European Union to do more, to do more, to assist and to save people's life.
En esta segunda parte de nuestra conexión global vamos a hablar de dos temas. Uno vinculado a Estados Unidos, la vida secreta de musulmanes en la sociedad estadounidense. Y también Cuba, en medio de un proceso de apertura al mercado libre que todavía encuentra resistencias en el régimen cubano. 4 visiones y 4 testimonios en la isla caribeña.
Can you tell me what is the history of Muslims in America?
There were Muslims on Columbus's ship and traveling with explorers all around the New World. Up to a third of all enslaved peoples were Muslim, and the White House was built by enslaved peoples. So it's reasonable to expect Muslims helped build the White House.
Did we have any relations with Muslim countries in those early days?
Have you heard of the United States Marine Corps song From the Halls of Montezuma
to the shores of Tripoli?
That's
yes.
Well, Tripoli is in modern-day Libya, and the reason that's in the song is because we were allies with them. And as a thank you for helping them deal with piracy issues, the Marine Corps was gifted a sword, which has now become the saber of the Marine Corps dress uniform.
What? So many people don't know that.
And Thomas Jefferson was also hosting dinners at the end of Ramadan for Muslim diplomats in the White House.
Wow.
Jefferson once said that he knows the American experiment is a success when we can get a Muslim as a president.
I heard somewhere that the Statue of Liberty has some Muslim connection.
The designer based it on an Egyptian Muslim woman.
Oh my God, Lady Liberty totally has a Muslim face. And that kind of tracks because I feel like mine and her nose are very similar.
And we get town names like Allah, Arizona, and Muhammad, Illinois, named after the Prophet Muhammad. These towns were not predominantly Muslim. They got these names as a sign of respect Americans had for Muslim cultures, Muslim civilization, Muslim people.
Did they build any mosques up in these towns?
2 of the oldest we have are in Ross, North Dakota, and Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I would feel like that's the place you would say has the first Applebee's, not the first mosque.
We can look at the ways Muslims have inspired American architecture, but we can't forget the people like Malcolm X and Muhammad Ali, who were turning to Islam to recover their heritage that had been taken away from them, and to say that you can't claim that there's only one way to be American.
And what about today's Muslim influencers, or as I like to call them, Musfluencers?
I grew up in New York listening to Tribe Called Quest, and when they dropped their new album, I was really excited. And they performed with Dave Chappelle on Saturday Night Live, and I think it was the first time that both the host and the musical guests of Saturday Night Live were all Muslims.
Dave Chappelle is a Muzz.
He is.
So is Ice Cube.
DJ Khaled, French Montana.
Shaquille O'Neal.
In the Olympics, we had 2 American Muslim women, Ibtihaj Muhammad in fencing, and Delilah Muhammad, who won a gold in track and field.
The owner of Chobani is a Muzz, and I eat one of those pumpkin Greek yogurts like every day.
And speaking of delicious food, the founder of Edible Arrangements is a Muslim as well.
Oh, hey, they look like flowers, but you eat them.
Muslims only represent about 1% of the American population.
How many of us are there?
About 3.5 million Muslims.
Here's a new stereotype about us. We are really bad at bowling, but really great at giving hugs.
You know the show The Simpsons?
Yeah.
Bart has a Muslim friend.
Yeah.
And if Bart can have a Muslim friend, I think we can all have Muslim friends.
Guys, go out there and get yourself a Muslim friend. We're pretty nice.
Learn from Bart Simpson. Cowabunga, dude.
Alejandro Ferraz acaba de festejar sus 97 años. Era uno de los rebeldes que asaltó el cuartel Moncada en Santiago de Cuba en julio de 1953. La operación fracasó, pero prendió la llama de la revolución.
Era necesidad de hacer una revolución, porque ya nosotros estábamos fraguados en la revolución.
La fuga del dictador Fulgencio Batista en la madrugada del 1 de enero de 1959 lo sorprendió exiliado en Estados Unidos, pero volvió a su país en el primer avión y nunca más se fue. 60 años después, cree que la revolución sigue vigente.
Puede durar 50 años más. Esta revolución no se aparta.
Lourdes Garcés, médica que ha participado de misiones cubanas en Venezuela y Brasil, también es una ferviente defensora del gobierno cubano y cree que la revolución todavía puede dar mucho más.
A pesar de muchas cosas que han acontecido, muchas carencias que tenemos, yo pienso que todavía se puede hacer mucho por la revolución. Y cada uno de nosotros tiene que poner el granito ese que es necesario para construir esa revolución.
Ana Fidelia Quirós agradece a la revolución cubana su carrera como deportista, pero también su vida.
Gracias a la revolución pude formarme como deportista, ser una mejor persona y sobre todo pude salvarme de aquel fatal accidente el 22 de enero del 93.
Ese día, un accidente doméstico le dejó quemaduras en casi el 40% de su cuerpo y la hizo perder el bebé que esperaba. Cree que no habría podido salvarse si no hubiera vivido en un país como Cuba, donde la medicina es gratuita. A sus 55 años, admite que en la isla faltan muchas cosas, pero confía en que con las reformas actuales llegue la mejoría económica. Para Vladimiro Roca, en cambio, la revolución está muerta hace rato. Hijo de un dirigente comunista, durante años ha sido uno de los más acérrimos opositores al gobierno de los hermanos Fidel y Raúl Castro, y ahora de Miguel Díaz-Canel.
La revolución por la que yo luché es por una revolución democrática y no por una dictadura familiar, que es lo que se ha establecido en Cuba.
A sus 76 años, asegura que la revolución se va a extinguir por su propio peso.
Ya la juventud está cansada, no cree en nada de esto. Eso en primer lugar. Y en segundo lugar, que ya no tienen apoyo. Ninguno en el exterior.